truck flipped over.
I closed my eyes at the impact. So when I opened my eyes, I was like laying on the cement and the truck was on top of me.
He saw it coming, but says she didn't listen.
When I noticed I couldn't stop, blowing up my horn, laying. It's a 1997.
I didn't hear.
It's
I didn't
a
hear any
1997
horn.
Suburban.
So you're saying because I was blowing my horn
That
and
is-
she didn't hear it,
Yes.
this accident is her fault?
And later, it's all about love and money.
If he goes to this Keith Urban concert with this other woman, what is that saying about his respect for me?
She is just a friend. I've known her for 20 plus years. Yes, she is drop dead gorgeous.
So there are trust issues. You don't really know
Absolutely.
what to believe about the other person.
That's right.
It's kind of what you would expect after you meet off of Plenty of Fish and move in together after knowing each other for only a month.
Absolutely.
So none of this is surprising.
Plaintiffs Verna Miller and Taylor Campbell are suing a driver for $4,283 in damages and medical bills after he crashed into their truck. Defendant Jawan Gorel says he lost control of his truck when the brakes went out and is countersuing for $13,900 in medical bills.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, this case is Miller versus Gorel.
Thank you, Barbara. Verna Miller
Yes, Your Honor.
and Taylor Campbell,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are suing the defendant Jawan Gorel
Yes, Your Honor.
for $4,283 for the cost of a damaged vehicle and medical care.
That's correct.
And you are countersuing, sir, for $13,900 for medical bills and hospital expenses related to this car accident. And you understand the statutory maximum in my courtroom is $5,000?
Yes, Your Honor.
After reading your papers, I understand that you, Ms. Campbell, were driving your grandmother's car
Correct.
and had a traffic accident on the date of this incident?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so why don't we start from the beginning and you tell me what happened?
On July 16th, 2014, I had got off work around 10 o'clock. I was coming north down Burt Road, and I came to a full stop at a stoplight. The stoplight then turned green, and I edged on into the intersection when the defendant, then coming west down Finkel Avenue, ran through a red light and hit me in the middle of the
Your Honor.
intersection.
Yes.
At that moment, my brakes had already failed. There's no throwing it in neutral. I tried to stop. There was also two other cars.
So you admit you ran a red light?
Yes.
But you're saying it was due to mechanical failure
Yes.
because of your car?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, do you have a photo of the intersection? Let me take a look at it. Okay, Ms. Campbell, why don't you step over to the flat screen and just show me the direction that both of you were traveling?
Okay. So I was coming north on Burt Road. This would be the stoplight right here. I then proceeded on after the green light, and the defendant was coming west down Finkel Avenue, and he hit me right around here in this intersection.
Okay, all right, thank you. So what happens after the defendant hit your car, which he now admits to doing?
After the defendant hit my car, he then proceeded to drive away. He hit me so hard then that I actually skirted over and like kind of bumped into another car also, but I did so much swerving and so much like moving around in the truck that the truck actually fell over.
What kind of car were you driving?
I was driving a 1999 Mercury Mountaineer.
Okay, and it was your car, ma'am?
That's correct. That's a 2000 Mercury Mountain.
Okay, so this is a pretty serious accident. Your car actually flipped over on the side.
I closed my eyes at the impact. So when I opened my eyes, I was like laying on the cement and the truck was on top of me.
Did anyone come over to try to help you?
After I got out, a lot of people came towards me like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Are you okay? But the defendant was not there.
Okay, well, how did you come to learn that he was the one person that hit your car?
I want to say maybe 5 to 10 minutes afterwards, he then limped back towards the scene. And that's when he came towards me like, you know, I'm so sorry that I hit you, my brakes failed.
Was there a police report?
There is a police report.
Okay, and were you injured?
I had minor cuts in my hand and my feet.
Put the photos up, please.
That's a picture of the passenger side. That's the side that was struck.
How fast were you traveling?
35, 37 miles.
You say that you were driving your car and your brakes went out and you hit her car. So why
Yes.
haven't you paid for the damages to her
Yes.
car?
They contacted me one time and it was about 8 a.m. in the morning. I blew my horn.
So if someone contacts you after
Yes.
9 a.m., they'll get a response?
I didn't have phone numbers. I didn't have nothing. I got sent to the hospital. I have $13,000 medical bill.
that you think she should pay for?
Yes.
Why is that?
When I noticed I couldn't stop, blowing on my horn, Landon. It's a 1997.
didn't hear- I
It's a
didn't hear any
1997
horn.
Suburban. The car that was sitting on the south side heard it. She stopped. The car that was in front of me that I went to the right lane, she heard it. She had to been doing something in her car in order not to hear my horn. Unless she what, wearing hearing aids?
That's not true.
Unless what, music loud? Maybe playing Monopoly or something in
There
the
was
car.
no other.
If she came on now and she see this truck coming, lights, headlights, look up 1997 Suburban, you can't miss it.
So you're saying, yes, my brakes went out, but
Yes.
because I was blowing my horn
That
and
is-
she didn't hear it
Yes.
and get out of the way,
Yes.
this accident is her fault.
Yes. Due
And
to
she's
it, yes, it is.
responsible for your medical bills.
Yes.
Coming up on Judge Faith, the hit and run truck that ran away.
I ran up the curve. I ran through the field to stop my vehicle. I don't have my vehicle. My vehicle is not in an impound. It's not at the police lot. It's
What happened
nowhere
to your
be-
car?
It's nowhere to be found.
And later, issues abound when you find love online.
He would make these insinuations like, oh, you know, who are you going to go see? Are you going to go see another man?
Yes, I had a problem when she emails him and says, I miss wrapping my thighs around you.
Plaintiffs Verna Miller and Taylor Campbell are suing a driver for damages and medical bills after he totaled their truck. Defendant Jawan Gorel says the plaintiff didn't get out of the way when he honked his horn.
Do you have insurance?
Yes.
Did you
Yes,
have
I-
insurance
yes,
on your
I did.
car?
I was with
Show me
Progressive.
proof of insurance.
I didn't have it. These is medical bills right here.
Okay, you didn't bring proof of insurance to
No.
court today, but you had insurance
He
on your
didn't
car.
have. He didn't have any
Your
proof
Honor,
of insurance
when
at
the
the
car
accident
accident,
either.
I came to the scene. I gave her my business card. I couldn't talk to her. It was about other, like, how many? 5 to 10 people was there around her threatening me.
Why were people threatening you, sir?
They were saying it was a hit and
Because
run.
he
I-
did drive away after he hit me, and then
a
he limped back. He
Suburban,
got rid of his car.
It couldn't stop. I
He got
ran
rid of
up
his car,
the
and then he
curb.
walked back towards
I
me.
ran up the curb. I ran through the field to stop my vehicle. I don't have my vehicle. My vehicle is not in an impound. It's not at the police lot. It's
What happened
nowhere
to your
be-
car?
It's nowhere to be found. When I left the scene, when they took me to the ambulance, I went straight to the hospital. There's nowhere to be found for my truck. Nowhere.
So you went to the hospital,
Yes.
and you say from that day to this day, you have no idea where your car
Nowhere.
is.
They said it's not even an accident for July the 16th, July the 17th, July the 18th.
What's the name of your insurance company?
Progressive.
He told me he had State Farm, but he could not give me any information. So then after that, the police asked him, like, well, what's your information? And he told them State Farm also. And they told me that they didn't believe him because he didn't give them any information. He couldn't provide anything.
Your Honor, I believe that that's in the police report that he had State Farm insurance.
Yeah.
Did you tell that to the police?
I didn't tell the police nothing. The only thing the police took was my license and my first and last name.
Why are you countersuing for your medical bills? Why do you think she owes you over $13,000
She
in
failed
medical
to ignore the
bills?
sounds of my horn and all the other sounds that was given. That's what it was.
You may be injured because of this accident, but I'm going to tell you why you suffered these injuries. Because your brakes went out, you were driving your car, you went through a red light, and you hit somebody. You're also suing for $548 in medical care. Do you have proof that you paid that out of pocket and it wasn't covered by health insurance?
That was not covered by health insurance, and I have made payments on that bill.
Okay.
I have a copy of the bill.
May I see it, please?
Taylor was examined because she had some pain after the accident.
You're not insured?
No,
Not at the time.
at the time, no.
How much have you paid towards the bill?
$50. In your honor, I'd like to commend the defendant for at least coming back to see about Taylor, because in our area there's so many hit and run accidents until it's really appalling. However,
Well, he did what he was
Thank you.
supposed to do.
I know.
But
not drive away.
I want
know.
him to not drive around with your brakes failing because you could have killed someone.
Did I know that they was gonna go out that night? No.
No, you didn't know, but she didn't know either.
Yes, and she also didn't hear my horn. She didn't see my light beams.
Listen, I don't care if she was blasting Jay-Z on the radio.
Which
what I'm
means you
telling
can't
you,
hear my
it doesn't
horn.
matter.
That
It
means
does
you
not
can't hear the
matter.
horn.
The fact that she didn't hear your horn does not negate the fact that your brakes went out and the accident is your fault. On that note, judgment in this case is for the plaintiff. I'm ordering you to pay her the Blue Book value of her car, $3,662, in addition to $548 for her out-of-pocket medical expenses, for a total of $4,210. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Plaintiff Cindy Yarrow says she helped her former boyfriend out of a financial bind and he still owes. She is suing for $1,400. Defendant Dwayne Kleinberg says they always helped each other out and the money was a gift.
Cindy Yarrow,
Yes,
you were suing the defendant Dwayne Kleinberg
Yes.
for $1,400. You say he owes you for an unpaid loan?
yes, that's correct.
Okay, tell me about your case, ma'am.
Well, Your Honor, Dwayne and I met on Plenty of Fish about 4 years ago.
What is Plenty of Fish? Dating website?
Yes, it's a dating website. We started dating, and fairly quickly, I fell in love with the defendant, and he moved in with my daughter and I into an apartment that my daughter and I shared.
When was that?
Probably May or June of 2011,
And when did the two of you meet on Plenty of Fish?
about a month before that.
Is that how Plenty of Fish works? You meet people and you just dive right
It's pretty much a hookup.
in? Okay.
So anyway, he was living with his mother at the time, and we were dating. Everything was going pretty well.
Why were you
and
living with your mother?
Paying child support on two daughters or one in college, the other one getting ready to go to college.
So you meet someone off the internet and 1 month later you move them in with your daughter and you?
Yes.
You think that was smart?
No, Your Honor, I do not think that was smart.
Okay.
And so anyway, we moved in together, and not long after we moved in together, we started having some differences. And one of those was the defendant had told me that him and one of his friends that he'd known for years were going to go to a Keith Urban concert, that he'd purchased the tickets, and that him and his daughters were going to go with the gal that he had mentioned. I told him, you know what, that's okay, that's fine. But I was really hoping that he would change his mind, because he's living with me. And I really thought, you know what, if he goes to this Keith Urban concert with this other woman, what is that saying about his respect for me?
Well, who was the other woman?
She is just a friend. I've known her for 20 plus years. Yes, she is drop dead gorgeous, but she is like a baby
okay.
sister. I bought the tickets in February for my daughters and my friend and her daughter, because she was my concert buddy, if you will.
And here's the thing, is that he's taking another woman to the concert, he's living with me, and so that became a huge issue.
I see why. Go ahead.
So I sell real estate. And so anytime that anybody would call me, and Mel would call me or whatever, he would make these accusations or insinuations like, oh, who are you going to go see? Are you going to go see another man? Or I had another friend of mine that we never dated. He was just a friend, And he's making accusations about how I'm seeing him. And
So there are trust issues. You don't really know
Absolutely.
what to believe about the other person.
That's right.
It's kind of what you would expect after you meet off of Plenty of Fish and move in together after knowing each other for only a month.
Absolutely.
So none of this is surprising.
yes, Your Honor, that's absolutely correct.
Coming up, when courting goes awry, come to court for relationship tips.
Every month I asked, are you sure you don't have a problem with it? She told me, I'm not a jealous person, would you knock it off? My friend calls me and says, does Cindy have a problem with it?
You don't
And I-
know anything about women, sir. You
No,
just don't
you know
know
what?
anything
No,
about
I've,
women.
I've got a big
Thank
S on
you.
my
I
forehead.
mean,
Plaintiff Cindy Yarrow is suing her former boyfriend for an unpaid loan. Defendant Dwayne Kleinberg says they always helped each other out and the money was a gift.
what do you have to say?
Oh, well, a whole lot now. As far as my friend is concerned, those tickets were bought before I met Cindy. concert didn't happen until September. Every month I asked, are you sure you don't have a problem with it? She told me, I'm not a jealous person. Would you knock it off? The day before the concert, my friend calls me and says, does Cindy have a problem with it?
You don't know anything about women, sir. You
No,
just don't
you know
know
what?
anything about women.
I've got a big
Thank
S
you.
on my
I
forehead.
mean,
Thank you, Your
and,
Honor.
And she said no. When I was leaving the door, that's when she had the problem. As far as her friend that she met, yes, I had a problem when she emails him and says, I'm miswrapping my thighs around you.
plenty of fish.
Your Honor.
Yes.
It was in reference. It was in reference to a motorcycle ride. The guy rode motorcycles. So
That's a good comeback. All right, so what's going on now with the loan that you're suing him for?
in July, his oldest daughter got married, and I've helped with the expenses, for the wedding.
What do you mean when you say you helped him with his older daughter's wedding?
I gave him a check, and I have proof of that, Your Honor.
May I see it, please?
Yes.
And you say this wasn't a loan, this was a gift?
This was a gift, and I told him that. You know what? He couldn't really afford to pay for his daughter's
So
wedding.
she gave you $2,500, you say
Right.
that's a gift, but you're suing over $1,400 that you say was a loan.
That's right, because right after his daughter's wedding, July 26th, Dwayne came home from work and he's like, oh my gosh, my account is overdrawn. I'm like, really, Dwayne? How can you overdraft your account by almost $3,000? And I said, you know what? Okay, I'm willing to help you, but the only way I can get cash would be on my credit card. So I took him with me to the bank, withdrew $1,700 cash from my credit card, and handed it to him and gave it to him.
And I assume this isn't in
Okay,
writing. You don't have anything in writing.
There's the text messages between the defendant and myself saying that he owes money. He threatened to throw me out of the home.
When
Just-
she is contacting her ex-lover, telling him what a loser I am, how miserable she is, she
How do you know
loves
she
him
did that?
because she was mad at me, going through my phone all the time, and she's yelling at me, and she set her phone down, and I looked at it, and I said, okay, what the hell? I looked at her phone, and I saw the emails telling him how a lazy, fat piece of that doesn't do anything. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get ready for work. I get home at 5:30 to 6, anywhere from 5:30 to 6:30 at night. I come home, you don't appreciate what I do for you.
No, you
And it's like,
didn't.
what do you want me to do? I say, thank you. I try to do special things for you.
But you take another girl to a concert.
That
See,
was
let
in
me tell you something.
2011.
Let me tell you something. Sir,
Yes, ma'am, I'm
see, let me
sorry.
tell you something.
I'm sorry.
It's always going to go back to that Keith Urban concert.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
You ask him, when can you pay me back? And she was referring to the $1,700 that you admit you asked her for in these text
Right.
messages.
'Cause-
You say not for a while. You will get your money, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
From several of these text messages, you appear to tell her you have every plan on paying her back the $1,700.
Yes, I do. But it's going to take a while. I don't have the money, and then she starts
But you told me
demanding-
earlier, sir, that the money was not a loan, that it was
It
a
wasn't.
gift.
It wasn't. She wants it back. So I plan on giving it back to her.
I actually have a copy of the statement that I withdrew the money out on. And of the $1,700, he has given me $300, which I am acknowledging in court.
The plaintiff says you paid her back $300, so she's only suing you for $1,400. Based on the text messages, since you repeatedly said you would pay her back, you had every intention on paying her
ma'am.
back, I'm going to order you to pay her back the rest of the money. Judgment for the plaintiff, $1,400. Good luck to both of you.
Buying an engagement ring online may make one of these couples pay the price.
We never received the ring that you were supposed to design for us. You
Because you
sent us
didn't
something
want it.
wrong.
They'll give you either the exact same ring, or we'll give you a store credit for the amount for anything in our store.
And why wouldn't you give them a refund?
Because of all the money that we had already put into this ring.
Because of your own mistakes.
And then, wait
And later, who's right and who's wrong in this fight over unpaid rent?
Do you have a copy of the lease, sir?
The one I tried to get in touch with my landlord to get it. It was really like she's giving me the run around. I couldn't get a secure copy of the lease.
So you don't have a copy of the lease?
No.
Also, it's kind of hard for me to pay rent and then also gotta feed a woman that looks like Fiona from Shrek and then feed a man that looks like Shrek. I'm sorry, I'm not built out of money.
As Karen Walker Harvey and Noelle Cruz say, the engagement ring they ordered from the defendant's website didn't look anything like the advertised pictures and wasn't what they wanted. They are suing for the refund of an engagement ring. Defendants Alexis and Steve Bello say they offered the plaintiff store credit in place of a refund, but the plaintiff refused the offer. They claim the plaintiff posted negative reviews online and are countersuing for defamation of character.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, this case is Cruz Walker Harvey versus Alexis Bello.
Thank you, Barbara. Noelle Cruz
Yes.
and Karen Walker Harvey.
Correct.
You are suing the defendants Alexis and Steve Bello for $5,590, the refund for an engagement ring you say you purchased from them?
Correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are countersuing for $1,500 for defamation of character?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so do the two of you own an online jewelry store, or is it an
Correct.
actual physical store?
Well, we have a physical store, but this was taking place
This is
on
an
the
online
website.
purchase?
Online.
Okay, and who has the ring now?
I do.
Okay, wonderful. So we'll start with you, Mr. Cruz or Ms. Walker Harvey. Tell me what happened.
Well, we started looking at engagement rings online on Craigslist, and we found a ring that we really liked that just so happened to be from a jewelry store. So we decided to contact the jeweler and ask some questions about it, like, do you have matching wedding bands? You know, just other details about the ring.
What made you want to shop online for an engagement ring? Did you have certain reservations about doing that?
We were looking at local people who are reselling their rings after a divorce, so, you know, that's what we were looking for. But we found a design that we absolutely fell in love with, and it just so happened to be at an online jeweler.
So tell me about what you saw online. You went to their store that's online, so you look at photos of a ring online and you like what you see?
Absolutely.
Okay, and so you then place the order. Did you ever speak to them before placing the order, or did you just do it all online, make the purchase, and they sent you the ring?
Well, there was a phone call between Karen and Alexis about the ring online, asking some questions, and then from then on forward, we did a lot of, a lot of email exchanges between us.
Before you purchased the ring?
Before we purchased the ring. It wasn't until May that I actually sent an email saying, here is, the order that we want. Can we still get it at this reduced price? Because they were advertising it at 14% off, I believe.
Okay, what was the advertised price for the ring?
$38.90.
$38.90. Okay, what was the issue the first time they sent you the ring?
We got the ring, and the design was exactly as it looked like in the picture, except there was no shine, no sparkle, no life to this ring, not like what was described in the photograph. We brought it to a jewelry store to see the sparkle, and she says any ring's going to sparkle in a jewelry store. So we brought it to the jewelry store, and we compared it with the exact same stones, the exact size stones that were VS2, and our ring did not compare at all. So I contacted the defendant and asked her, why would that be? And she said she put in SI1 stones, which is a grade or 2 below.
Okay.
And she had offered to fix it for an additional $350 until I pointed out the ad for the ring was for VS2 stones.
Okay, so when you got the ring, it had lower grade stones
Correct.
than what was advertised in the ad, correct?
Well, here's the thing. With diamonds, I mean, somebody can tell you they're VS2. Even my diamond supplier will sell me VS1. And when I bring it to my appraiser, he's going to say, no, they're VS2, they're SI1.
Subjective.
It's sort of
appraising
by an expert eye, right? And that's how they can tell the quality of a diamond.
But I agreed to change the stones
To
and upgrade
change
them.
the stone
I
and
did
upgrade
I
them.
did upgrade the stones.
And did you pay extra for that?
We did not.
So the first time you sent the ring back, you changed the stones.
I upgraded the stones to VS2.
And then you sent it back. Okay, and what happened when she
That
sent it
ring
back
was
to
a
you?
lot shinier, more improved. However, it still did not look like the photo that's supposedly stunning, beautiful. It had no character, not like the photo of the ring online.
Do you have a photo you want to show me?
Excuse me, she said the first ring was exactly as pictured.
The design
now
was the same with the bows and the round part, but the diamonds themselves look nothing like what you show on your website.
So what is this a photo of? Whose photos are these, and what am I looking at?
The photo on the right is the photo that we took of the first wing that we received. The one that, you know, we are saying is dull and lifeless. And we returned. The one on the image on the left is the photo from their website.
We never received the ring that you were supposed to design for us. You
Because you
sent us
didn't
something
want it.
wrong.
We didn't want
here's
it
the-
because
here's the
3
thing.
times now we've
we had to
received.
get it
Hold on a
right.
second, because I want to take this step by step so I understand.
Coming up on Judge Faith.
So what are you talking about?
Because we had 2 different CADs made at that time.
So you sent them the wrong ring?
Yes.
Yeah.
And whose fault is that?
And later, these roommates fight over rent.
It's kind of hard for me to pay rent and then also got to feed a woman that looks like Fiona from Shrek and then feed a man that looks like Shrek. I'm sorry, I'm not built out of money.
Plaintiffs Noelle Cruz and Karen Walker Harvey say that the engagement ring they ordered didn't look anything like the advertised pictures, and they are suing for a refund. Defendants Alexis and Steve Bellows say they offered the plaintiff store credit and owe nothing more.
You at some point pay for an upgrade.
After she reassures us that it will not be considered custom and void the return policy,
I understand
we paid
that.
$1,700 more dollars
For an upgrade.
larger side stones.
Okay, that was the second time.
No, this was after we returned the second ring. This is the creation of the third. We wanted bigger
Okay.
side stones and to get rid of the millwork that makes it look vintage and make it more modern.
So before they returned the ring the third time, you pay $1,700 for the upgrade. So she pays the $1,700. What work do you do on the ring at that point?
We increased the side stones from 0.50 to a full 1 carat.
The metal
The
weight was-
metal weight was increased as well. I mean, we had to redo the whole CAD design, which is 8 hours at least.
And how long?
In work.
8 hours of work.
Number 2.
No, it's a
Okay, so
lot
what
bigger
happens when
version.
you get the third ring? What do you say to them?
We say, this is not acceptable. We did not order this ring. We have guidelines right here stating what we custom made, what they agreed to, and we did not get what we paid for.
Your Honor, I have the ring right here.
And what happens, because I see you respond and you say, they say, you know what, we want our money back. We have this third ring, it's not what we asked for, and at this point we want our money back. And you respond and you say, this is not the correct ring, you're gonna have to
That's
talk to your
right.
staff.
That's right.
You respond and you say, I'm positive this
I'm
is not
positive.
the ring I produced for you.
Absolutely.
So what are you talking about?
Because we had 2 different CADs made at that time.
So
and
you sent
before-
them the wrong ring?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much
The
so. That's
wrong
what
ring was
happened.
casted.
Was casted.
And whose fault is that?
That was our fault, and we admitted that,
again.
and we were willing to do it all over and recast the metal at our cost and give them the ring exactly the way they wanted it.
So the question now that I have to decide is, what are you owed for labor? Because I'm not going to order them to take that engagement ring. It's an engagement ring. They should get what they want. And you did say you sent them the wrong ring, so I'm not going to
understand
order
that.
But I
them
offered it.
to take that ring. But by the way, you have a $1,500 defamation of character counterclaim. What's that about?
Well, she posted on our Facebook. She went to reseller ratings and posted negative information. And
Before we had a chance
we
to
never even really
resolve
had a chance
anything.
to resolve anything. until
How
selling
was
online.
your reputation damaged, and do you have proof of that?
Well, we have the postings that she.
I can't get that. I can't get it all.
So the fair thing to do in this case, I'm going to order you to refund the plaintiffs the cost of the first ring before you did all the work. The remainder of that money that they paid you, you can use that for labor. I'm going to order you to refund them $3,890 plus their court costs. Good luck.
Plaintiff Christopher Cole says he and the defendant moved into a 3-bedroom apartment together, but was forced to evict the defendant because he quit paying his rent. The plaintiff is suing for overdue rent and utilities. Defendant Tariq Allen says he never signed a lease when he moved into the apartment, and that there was a mutual agreement that he would pay his rent with food stamps. He is accompanied by his witness, Keontae Reynolds.
Christopher Cole?
Yes.
You were suing the defendant Tariq Allen.
Yes.
For $3,500 you say he owes you for unpaid rent and utilities?
Yes, Your Honor.
You brought a witness with you today, sir, Miss Keontae Reynolds?
Yes.
How are you?
I'm fine, and yourself?
Good. Mr. Cole, we'll start with you. When did the two of you first move in together?
We moved in November of 2012, exactly.
And how long did he live with you?
1 year, about 6 months.
1 year and 6 months?
Yes.
So what month and year did he move out?
Around May of 2014.
Okay. So let's start from the beginning. How do you know Mr. Allen? How did the two of you meet and become roommates?
Oh, we met junior year in high school. We went to high school together, finished graduation. We always hang out. You know, we started working at a warehouse together and everything. We just friends. Like, he's like family, brother. Pretty much after that, we figured, oh, well, it was so much to do out here. We might as well get a place together, you know, live it up, you know. So after that, we decided, you know, let's get a place, you know, just go for it.
Where were you living at the time?
I was living with my mother prior to that. And it's like, we decided from there, he moved to my house. From there, it was like, why we gotta listen to all these rules? Let's get our own place. We do what we want to do. So
instead of living with your mother and having rules,
yeah, we decided to move with each other and do
elsewhere.
what we wanted to do.
Okay. All right. Live it up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what kind of place did you get, and were you all on a lease, or what was the arrangement?
No. Originally it was supposed to be us three, but we couldn't really run Tariq's credit. You know, I didn't want any.
Three. Hold on for a second. You say there were supposed to be three of you?
Yes.
Who's the other person?
Mr. He's not here, but
Okay.
me and Tariq decided we're gonna get a place. You have to go do background checks and everything. We really didn't want to run any risk of being denied the apartment, so we decided.
What do you mean by you didn't want to run a risk of putting him on the lease? Risk of not getting the apartment?
Yes, yeah.
Why? What was the issue?
Because he didn't really have any credit or any type of employment history validated that it really can help get us into the apartment.
Did the landlord know that he would be moving in with
Yes,
the two
she
of
did,
you?
yeah.
Okay. All right. So what kind of apartment was it? How many bedrooms and
It was
bathrooms?
a 3-bedroom, if you can call it that. It was sort of small, but it was, you know, cozy, if you could say that.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Allen,
Yes.
you're comfortable, or you want to stand up straight for me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Just give me some background and tell me how you ended up moving in with Mr. Cole and your other friend.
We bounced around from different homes. I lived with his mother, he lived with my mother, and then we decided, like, we don't want to abide by nobody's rules. You know, renegade for life. We're gonna do our own thing.
You're
We gotta
what?
own
You're
our
in the
fun.
game of life?
Renegade for life.
Oh, renegade for life. Okay.
So we got our own apartment, and it wasn't like everything was okay up until the point where it was like I lost my first job.
Okay, when did that happen?
Coming up on Judge Faith, helping friends can sometimes end up being a bad idea.
He was a brother to me, he's family. I wasn't gonna put family on the street. I know what it's like not to have none. Yeah, everybody said it was a bad idea.
And that's a costly move, because
Yes,
you don't
it
put
was.
family on the street, but you're here in court today suing families.
Yes,
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Plaintiff Christopher Cole says he evicted his friend from his apartment because he has too many unpaid bills. Defendant Tariq Allen says he was illegally evicted and that he owes nothing.
Okay.
So we got our own apartment, and it wasn't like everything was okay up until the point where it was like I lost my first job.
Okay, when did that happen?
That happened, I would say, August of 2013.
Okay, so what was the agreement, though, in terms of how much you would pay in rent and utilities each month?
It was $550.
Do you have a copy of the lease, sir?
The one I tried to get in touch with my landlord to get it. It was really like she just gave me the runaround. I couldn't get a secure copy of the lease.
So you don't have a copy of the lease?
No.
Okay, all right. Since he agrees that you were going to pay how much, $550 a month for the time period that you lived there,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going to assume that how much was the total amount in rent?
Originally in November it was $1050. That was
Okay,
the grand
and you were
total.
going to split that 3 ways.
Yes.
And
But
then the two of you decided to add on additional money for utilities.
Yes.
And so what was the 3-way split in terms
It
of
was
what you...
$500
Let me finish.
sorry.
And so what was the 3-way split in terms of what each of you would pay?
Okay, for each of us it was $500. That $500 included everything from.
But you say $550.
Yeah.
It was $550. It was just a little bit extra, just in case from bills.
Okay.
More or less, it was just to cover lights, cable, and rent. Everything.
Got
else.
it. Got it. So you say you were paying on time up until you lost your job, which was when?
August 2013.
Okay, what happened then?
I was working a double shift as a security guard for Strike Force Protective Searching.
Well, I understand you say you lost your job.
Yes.
But what happened in terms of you, in terms of your agreement with them to pay the rent and utilities?
Everything was being paid when I had the job. It was like once I fell on hard times, then things got kind of hard to get to.
Okay, so you stopped paying rent.
Yeah.
Okay, so you all moved into the apartment November of 2012, and you stayed all the way up until May 2014.
Yes.
You lost your job and you stopped paying rent around November of 2013.
Yes.
So is it your testimony that that entire year, November 2012 to November 2013, you were paying rent and utilities?
Yes.
And you never missed a payment?
No, I did miss a couple payments. Things
Okay.
were kind of late. Because I was on, by that time, I was
in
on
November
unemployment.
2013, before you lost your job, were you up to date on everything?
Yes, I was up to date on everything.
And you say something different.
Wrong. Absolutely wrong.
Okay.
Like, he paid maybe once, twice, maybe 3 times. Other than that.
For the entire year?
For the year. The entire year. And it was like, he is right. Things became difficult. And if anything, he didn't have me or Mr. covered.
Okay, and why would you do that for an entire year?
He was a brother to me. He's family. I wasn't going to put family on the street. I know what it's like not to have nothing. So it was more like, yeah, everybody said it was a bad idea. Everybody told me, Mr. told me. Everyone told me it's a bad idea. However, I didn't see it that way. He's family. I don't put family on the street.
And that's a costly move because you
Yes,
don't
it
put
was.
family on the street, but you're here in court today suing family.
Yes,
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I know. But it came down to, it wasn't supposed to get to this level.
But you say that there was a different arrangement.
Yes,
Because
there
what was
really
that
was.
arrangement?
Okay, Your Honor, what Mr. Cole over here has failed to put out there is that we came up with an agreement after I lost my job, I went on welfare, I got food stamps.
That's your business.
I got food stamps, and he was like, okay, if you put food in the house, I'll take care of your half of the rent.
That's after you lost your job?
Yes.
Okay, so November 2013, you have this arrangement. He's going to pay in food stamps. The next month, ma'am, December of 2013, that's when you move in.
Incorrect. I moved in November 2013, and even before I moved in, I was helping with things that were missing from Mr. Allen.
Hold on for a second. So November 2013, you lose your job.
Yes.
There's this agreement that you would pay in food stamps, and then you move in the same month.
Mm-hmm.
And the agreement is you're going to move in because you're going to help pay rent at that point.
Yes, he was covering whatever he could cover in money and food stamps, and I would pay the difference for his room. So
Does anybody have a record of any of this? How much money he was giving and when?
I have a record of what he had. I have affidavits from the new roommate that was after Keontae moved in.
Do you have a record of what money he was giving you and when each month?
No. I didn't think to go through a paper trail to friends.
Your
Like,
Honor,
I assume people pay.
It's kind of hard for me to pay rent and then also got to feed a woman that looks like Fiona from Shrek and then feed a man that looks like Shrek. I'm sorry, I'm not built out of money. I can't sit here and help everyone eat, you feel me?
Now, Judge Faith rules.
From when you moved in 2012 all the way to November of 2013 when you say you lost your job, how many times do you think you paid?
Your Honor, if I had to roughly guess, I say I paid maybe 3 times out of that. But what Mr. Cole
that's what he said.
What Mr. Cole has failed to also tell you that
This is the part where you say, I know I still owe for utilities that were not paid, and I know I owe for a part of that, and I need to pay that. Mr. Allen, based on the testimony I've heard here from both sides today, I'm going to order you to pay the full amount that the plaintiff is seeking in this case. Judgment in favor of the plaintiff, $3,500.
This woman says her former lover borrowed thousands of dollars to breed pit bulls, but never paid anything back.
Every other time it was something different about the dogs and what he needed money for.
So you were just shelling out
yes,
cash,
I was.
and you're
yes.
saying that those were all loans.
Correct.
But he claims he was always in contact with the plaintiff, and the money would come if any puppies were born.
I kept in touch with her each month.
No, I'm looking at the text messages. You weren't keeping up with her. She was keeping up with you.
And later, who's responsible for the bite that caused this dog to get 10 stitches?
The other dog jumped on Lily's head and was biting and clawing, and that's when the skin literally peeled away and you could see the red flesh underneath.
Is it your position that this injury came from some other incident besides the one that she's describing?
No.
Plaintiff Tyresha Stewart is suing her ex-lover for $2,950, the money she loaned him to start a pit bull breeding business. Defendant Kelvin Johnson says that he doesn't know anything because no puppies were ever sold.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, we have Stewart versus Johnson.
Thank you, Barbara. Tyresha Stewart?
Yes.
You were suing the defendant, Kelvin Johnson, for $2,950 for an unpaid loan.
Correct.
So you say that the defendant wanted to start a pit bull breeding business?
Correct.
And you loaned him the money to do that and he failed to repay you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So how did you meet Mr. Johnson?
We started working together and
Where?
At Costco warehouse. and we were just friends, dating and hanging out. And shortly right before Christmas, he purchased a dog for me. And I, started loving Boss and everything. And as time went on, he started showing me different websites about dogs and breeding and stuff like that.
So were the two of you dating or just friends?
From my understanding, we were starting to date. I was looking for a boyfriend at the time.
And he was a good candidate?
Yes, somewhat, yes.
Okay, all right.
At least I thought, yes.
Yeah, what do you have to say about that?
It was a very casual friendship.
But was it a dating relationship?
If you want to call it that.
Okay. Tell me what happens next.
Okay, so then by that time, he wanted to do the dog breeding business. And then he proceeded to say, well, I can get a dog from California, all this other stuff. Okay, fine, give him the cash, whatever.
How much had you given him at that point?
Almost $2,000 at this moment.
And did he have the dog?
No,
yet?
he did not. He did not. That's what I was questioning. I'm like, okay, where's his dog? He was telling me all these different stories about how the dog was being transported, how the issues with the guy just transporting the dog, this and that.
What kind of dog was it?
Another pit bull.
How did you first approach her about starting this pit bull breeding business?
Okay, the agreement was, if you purchase this dog for me, the puppies, I will give you back the money for it.
So that's the agreement.
That was the agreement.
So let me make sure I understand. You're saying the agreement was she would purchase the pit bull.
Yes, ma'am.
And you would pay her back from the profits
you
made from the pit bull business.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you
Because
made no profits, what?
She would wait until I get the profit off the puppies and everything.
And if you didn't make
that's
any
all I was
profits,
waiting on.
and if you didn't make any profits, what was the deal?
Until that did happen with the puppies and everything, I would, try to find a way to calm her down, but let her know it's going to happen, which is something that I did every single month.
And you asked her for how much money?
$1,500.
And that's how much she gave you?
That's how much she gave me.
What happened after China was shipped down to South Carolina? Did you actually start breeding her and making a profit from doing that?
Yes, okay. There was no profit immediately because China got to me in April. When I got her, she was already in heat. So I told Tyrese that, I said, look, I gotta wait till her next heat. Now, most
and how
dogs,
long does that take?
Some females go in heat every 4 months or they go every 6 months. China finally got pregnant last year, November.
How many puppies did China have?
China only had one puppy with a guy that I know that has a bully.
What happened
like
to that
China.
one puppy?
That puppy, she died because she was born with what they call like an enlarged heart. You can't detect it at all until they pass and everything. So she had one puppy named Gigi.
How long did Gigi live?
Gigi lived probably about 5 months, 5.5 months and everything.
Did you have Gigi during the months that she lived, or did you sell her?
No, I had her. I had her the whole time. I had to buy her ready to get her and everything because they had to wait till she got old enough for me to sell her and everything.
What happened to China?
China passed away back in June.
So China died too?
Yep, she passed away too, and she passed away. She caught liver disease.
Are you sure you know what you're doing when it comes to breeding dogs? Because people think they can go and just start breeding dogs and make a quick buck, and it's a lot more involved in that. He admits to owing you $1,500, and he admits the fact that he didn't pay you for that, but you're saying that he owes you for other things. What's the other $1,500 you're suing for?
For him just having extra cash, because every other time it was something different about the dogs and what he needed money for.
So you were just shelling out cash?
Yes, I was.
And you're saying that those were all loans?
Correct.
And none of that was a gift, is what you're saying?
No, ma'am.
But you don't have any of that in writing?
Yes, I do, from a text message. Yes, I do, because when I tried to get it before he got fired from the job.
Let me see your text messages. And is there any particular reason why you haven't paid her any of this money?
She's not telling the truth.
The $1,500 for China.
The $1,500, okay. After I lost a job at Costco, I was in and out of work hard last year. So I kept in touch with her each month and said, haven't found a job, I'm looking. She was cool with that.
Coming up, Judge Faith isn't buying the defendant's excuses.
I reached out to her and said, look, here go my new number.
You think that you get credit for giving her your new phone number. You don't get credit for that. You get credit when you start giving her some money that you owe her.
And later, who's responsible for this dog's injuries?
Has she ever attacked another dog?
No.
Prior to this incident?
No.
Plaintiff Taisha Stewart is suing her former lover for the money she loaned him to start a pit bull breeding business. Defendant Kelvin Johnson says that he would have paid the plaintiff back if there were any profits from the business.
No, I'm looking at the text messages. You weren't keeping up with her. She was keeping up with you.
No.
She was contacting you.
No. She gonna show you whatever she gonna show you. I was texting her right back.
I'm looking at the entire conversation. And I'm
phone.
telling you, you were not keeping up with her. She was keeping up with you.
My phone number got changed. My phone number got changed.
In fact, I'm looking at a text message from her because, I mean, these text messages go back to March, and I've reviewed all of them. And after all of these months, she's texting you, asking you about the money, the $1,500 for the dog. You're saying, I need to buy this car. As soon as I buy this car, I'm gonna give you a little something. I'm working on something right now. As soon as I get my next paycheck, I'm gonna give you a little something. And you're not doing it. You say, you know what, I don't have the money right now, but this is when I think I'm going to pay you, and you give them something.
And I didn't tell you that.
You give, Mr. Johnson, look at me. You give them something to show you are in good faith trying to make an effort to pay back the money that you borrowed. That's what I'm saying, and I'm not seeing the effort here.
Okay, here's what I'm trying to say. Here's the one thing that I'm trying to say, that I was keeping contact with her. My first phone number got damaged. I got a whole new phone. I reached out to her and said, look, here go my new number. Just so you know, I'm not disappearing on you, vanishing.
Sir, she doesn't want your new number. She wants the money. She doesn't care if you change your number 5 times. She wants the money. You think that you get credit for giving her your new phone number. You don't get credit for that. You get credit when you start giving her some money that you owe her. All right, I'm ruling. Ma'am, in terms of what you have been able to prove here today, you have proven, because the defendant admits and because of these text messages, that he owes you $1,500 for the pit bull. My advice to you is you should not be shelling out thousands of dollars to someone who is as ungrateful as he is. Verdict for the plaintiff, $1,500.
Plaintiff Carrie Diaz claims the defendant's dog attacked her little Chihuahua. She is suing for vet bills. Defendant Louise Boutros says that her dog was on a leash and the plaintiff is responsible. She is accompanied in court today by her employee and friend, Shillia Wakefield.
Carrie Diaz?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are suing the defendant, Lois Boutros?
Yes.
For $783 for dog medical bills. You say that her dog attacked and bit your dog?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so why don't we start from the beginning? How do the two of you know each other?
Well, I don't know the defendant, Your Honor. I own a dog, my dog, Lily. She's our little baby girl. We rescued her from the shelter. I've had her for 11 years.
Wow. Okay, so go ahead. So you were walking your dog one day?
I was with my son. We were walking her, and we were about to walk past where the defendants were standing.
Was your dog on a leash?
Yes, she was.
And the defendant's dog was on a leash as well?
Yes, she was.
Okay, so what happened?
Well, you know, when you go to pass another dog, they usually want to meet and greet, and I don't let Lily go up to someone's dog just to let her go up. I made contact with the defendant. She looked at me, looked at the dogs, to give her time to let me know if the dog was unfriendly.
Okay.
And we should just keep walking and not stop.
Got it.
She didn't say anything. She saw it and then went back to her conversation, and the dogs came nose to nose and sniff, sniff, and then all of a sudden, the other dog jumped on Lily's head and was biting and clawing, and it was very vicious. I was shocked. I was very scared, and the dogs had to be pulled apart to get Lily away from the other dog.
Who pulled them apart?
We were both pulling our dogs apart. So once we were able to get the dogs apart, I knelt down to look at Lily. You know, I was looking for some major damage because it was so vicious. And my son was with me. He's very small. And so really, we live really close. I just wanted to go home and get away from that dog.
So, ma'am, what kind of dog do you have?
Jack Russell.
Jack Russell?
Yes.
Okay, how long have you had what's your
3
dog's
years.
name?
Lucy.
Lucy. How long have you had Lucy?
3 years.
Has she ever attacked another dog?
No.
Prior to this incident?
No.
And you've had her for 3 years?
Yes, since she's baby, since she was 2 months.
Okay, so as far as you know, she doesn't have vicious tendencies?
No.
What do you say happened?
Okay, we're closing my store. We have a pharmacy, and we're closing at 7 o'clock. And Sheila, she's employee with me. So we're closing the store, and after we're closing, we chatting. And
Standing outside talking to each other?
And then her dog approached my dog, and they like sniff each other, like she said, and then they start to jump on top of each other, both of them. So I took my dog, pull it back, and she pulled her dog back.
And what do you have to say about this, ma'am?
Yes, that's true, Your Honor. We were just standing outside chatting. The plaintiff was walking her dog. She was with a small child. And she was walking in a different direction, but she came towards us. She approached us with the dog. There was a scuffle between the dogs. Lois apologized after they pulled the dogs apart.
Coming up on Judge Faith, whose fault is it really? And will the plaintiff get the money she's seeking?
She had to get 10 stitches. She had to be on pain medicine. She had to go under and have surgery.
But when it comes to dog-on-dog bites, the law requires me to look at what the dog owner did and if the dog owner did something wrong.
Plaintiff Carrie Diaz claims that the defendant's dog attacked hers. She's suing for vet bills. Defendant Louise Boutros says that in the 3 years of having her dog, she's never attacked another and doesn't have vicious tendencies.
How did the scuffle start? Did you see it from the very beginning?
Yes, I was there.
What happened?
Lucy was on a harness, and she was pulling forward so that she was actually on her hind legs. And the plaintiff approached with her dog. The dog walked directly up to Lucy, and Lucy kind of dropped down, like on top of the dog. Then there was some snarling and a little scuffle, and they pulled the dogs apart. And Lois apologized. She said, "I'm really sorry." And the lady said,
Because
"Oh."
Lucy, did you see Lucy sort of started towards her dog
No
at the very
apology,
beginning?
Your Honor. There was no...
I'm sorry, I'm asking them a question. Did you see Lucy pull towards her dog when she approached with her dog?
She was pulling on the harness before the lady approached.
Okay, let me see a photo of Lucy. I understand you submitted one to court. Okay, you said your dog was injured? How did you
Yes.
find out about the injuries?
Well, as soon as we got home...
Because you said at the time there were no visible injuries that you could see.
At the time, there was no way for me to see the injury because it was basically a pencil-thin slash in sort of her fold of skin and fur. And when we got home and she was able, you know, I could tell she was in pain, and that's when the skin literally sort of peeled away and you could see the red flesh underneath, and that required 10 stitches from here to here, and
Let me see the
surgery.
photos.
And
so she had to get 10 stitches?
she had to get 10 stitches. She had to be on pain medicine. She had to go under and have surgery.
Wow.
And then she had to have a cone for 2 weeks. And then she had to go back and have the stitches removed.
Oh, wow. Those
And
are the stitches?
her face is very small. And the vet said because of the nature of the wound, there was no way I could have seen it at the time. Because it was basically the skin then moved away from where that laceration was.
Wow.
Can I say something?
But she's okay now?
Thank goodness. She's okay, and she's still lovable as ever. And I'm surprised, you know, she just doesn't hold a grudge, and she's still happy, you know? And it was just heartbreaking to see her like that. She's such a sweet girl.
You say you didn't know the defendant. How did you find her to bring this lawsuit?
Right. Well, I live in the area, and I noticed all the boxes, and I just kind of put it together. Well, she must either work there or own a store there, because why would she be standing there?
So
with
you found her that
boxes?
way?
That's how I
And
went
what
in
was
and
your,
asked.
when she approached you about paying the dog's vet bills, what was your response to that?
Yeah, let me tell you, Your Honor, like, we asked her before she left if anything wrong with her dog. She checked her dog, and she said, no, everything is fine. And she left. She doesn't know me. She doesn't know anything, any information. 2 or 3 days later, she called my husband. My husband is a pharmacist in the store. And then she tell him what happened, and he tell her, this is not my dog, this is my wife's dog, and it doesn't happen inside the store, so why you call me?
Okay, so you're disputing that your dog caused this
Both
injury?
of us check the dogs, like, because they play
well,
together.
I mean, but what she's saying is it was under the fur, and so she didn't see it at that time, and then she went back home and saw it later.
Your Honor, may I
So, is it your position that this injury came from some other incident besides the one that she's describing?
No, I don't know, because
You don't know?
she called us. She called my husband after 3 days, so I don't know what happened on that time.
Okay, what do you want to say
That's
about
not
that?
true. I called them the day she was in surgery. I went into the store,
No.
and then I came back. They said she wasn't going to be in until possibly Monday, and I knew that I needed to let her know now. So I left her a message, and her husband, he did call me the day she was in surgery at the time.
Why do you think she should pay for your dog's vet bills?
I think she should pay because people need to be responsible for what their dogs do. And my dog she didn't attack her dog. Her dog attacked my dog and made this injury that then resulted in this vet bill that I can't afford to just pay that big of a bill.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
Let me tell you what the law is, okay? Because a lot of people come in here with these cases involving dog bites, and I want to explain something to you. In these cases where dogs bite other dogs, it's not about what the dogs did, because dogs will fight. They'll get into fights if you let them. It's about if she's responsible or if you're responsible. It's about what the owner did. Did she do something wrong? Based on your testimony, if I accept everything you've told me today, she was standing outside of her business. Her dog was on a leash, as is required. She was standing there minding her own business. You approached her with your dog. Just because her dog bit your dog, that doesn't mean she is responsible. Strict liability in your state when it comes to dog bites is when a dog bites another person. But when it comes to dog-on-dog bites, the law requires me to look at what the dog owner did and if the dog owner did something wrong. You let your dog get close to hers. Legally, I can't hold her responsible because she didn't do anything wrong. You have to tell me something she did wrong. And so, I'm sorry this happened to your dog. I believe you when you say your dog was injured as a result of this incident. I really do. And if I accept everything you've told me today legally, I can't hold her responsible. I can't order her to pay your dog's vet bills. Judgment in this case is for the defendant. Good luck.
Thank you.
The nasty neighbors who took the top slots on our favorites list.
I left my blankets there washing, thinking they were gonna be safe. But of course, I found out there's another rat living in the building.
Which is you.
Who steals duvets?
And then
I did call him the N-word one time. Because he sat there calling me a cracker. I would
You
never
took it
say
to that level. Calm down. Listen. Look at me. Breathe.
plus
There was one particular young man who lived out of state. He wanted to rent the condo.
I'm just being nosy now. What happened with the guy?
and later.
I said, I ordered NutriBullet. What happened to it? And they said, oh, we delivered it to you.
Your Honor, I could have been framed. Anyone could have signed that.
Oh, you think FedEx is framing you?
Plaintiff Daniel Castilleja says a defendant's friend stole his blankets from the laundry room of their apartment complex. He's suing for the cost of stolen property. Defendant Deborah Urias says she doesn't know because she didn't steal Daniel's blankets, and she wants him to stop harassing her about them.
So I had to do my own laundry, wash my two beautiful blankets that I miss. And one of them reminds me of my grandmother. And I get to the laundromat. I see this lady, or this thing, taking off some raccoon off her hair, of her head, and throwing it in the dryer to dry it. And she's like that. I'm like, okay, whatever, to each her own. And then I left my blankets there washing, thinking they were gonna be safe. But of course, I found out there's another rat living in the building.
Which is you.
Approximately how many apartments are in this building?
Oh, my goodness. There are 14 floors.
14 floors. Oh, this is a huge apartment complex.
Oh, yes.
And you all share a laundry room.
Right.
So what happened, ma'am?
I got approached by the manager saying that one of my people that came to visit me, we had gone down to wash her clothes and my clothes. He said he has her on video.
Taking his blankets out of the dryer.
So I went and told her, and she's like, yeah, I got to take them back. She goes, well, after I wash them.
So she admits she stole the blankets?
Yeah, she did.
So why are we here?
Because he's saying I did it, and I was nowhere there. If he has, prove it.
On the apartment complex that I live in with this rat.
You can't call names in my courtroom,
Okay,
sir.
with this person. Whatever guests you let in, it's your responsibility. It was her guest that stole my blankets that are full of bed bugs probably by now. It's her responsibility.
Actually, I would say that you are negligent. I would say that you are negligent.
Thank you.
And you need to tell your little thieving cousin or sister-in-law, whoever she is, to stop taking people's duvet covers. Let me see proof of the value of these blankets, sir. These are 2 blankets.
One, please.
It's one duvet?
It's 2 blankets.
Okay.
Thank you, Juan.
Thank you.
Oh, you called me?
He called me over. He called me over.
I am done.
I feel a lot safer
done.
now.
Okay.
Thank you, Juan.
You're making me blush, Mr. Castellanos, you're making me blush.
You can call me Daniel.
Sir, is that the blanket that was stolen out of the laundry room on the day in question? I don't know if you can handle seeing this, but that's a photo. You're suing for $270 in emotional distress?
Yes, because this is a serious matter. My wool blanket that was stolen reminded me of my grandmother's. She had one just like it, and I had just bought it. I still miss it to this day.
Who steals duvets?
Exactly, especially beautiful ones like mine.
Okay, I'm gonna rule now. Based on the evidence in this case and everything I've heard, the law is very clear that people are not responsible for the independent criminal acts of a third party. But in this case, ma'am, you were completely negligent in allowing this woman to go down to the laundry room unsupervised. I am going to order a partial judgment in this case in the amount of $438, judgment for the plaintiff.
Coming up, a ransacked rental has a neighbor in court defending her nasty behavior.
My life was threatened. It was a horrible neighborhood.
Okay.
Then she just went out of control. The N-word, I'm N-word this. The only good N-word is a dead N-word. My grandpa used to own N-words.
Plaintiff Demi Drummer says his former tenant was nothing but trouble. He's suing for unpaid rent and a security deposit. Defendant Mickey Brown says she doesn't know because she tried to make the living situation work. But Demi was rude and made it impossible.
She gave me this sob story that she lost everything due to an electrical fire, and she had nothing, and she was staying out of an extended stay hotel with her husband. And so I said, you know what? I feel for you. I want to alleviate the pain that you're going through right now. I will give you the keys to the apartment today.
And here we are today.
And here
How did that work out for you?
Sadly.
How old are you?
For a story. I'm 24.
You're 24.
But
okay.
I look 16.
And
you know.
At 24 years old, you own a 4-apartment unit building.
Yeah, Honor, you ain't got to toot my horn like that. But yeah.
No, I just want to get this established.
Yes.
Right? These are the facts, right?
Let's put that out there. Okay.
Do you live there?
I do.
Did you get a security deposit from her?
No, I did not.
Did you get any rent from her?
No, I did not.
Okay, because most landlords don't allow people to move into their apartments without giving them any money.
I'm inexperienced. It's kind of new to me. I just
That was a
owned the
rookie
house for
mistake.
yeah, that was a big rookie mistake.
Okay.
Real big.
What do you say the conversation was, ma'am, when you moved in?
I only lived there 7 days. I never established residency. I never brought in any kind of furniture. I wanted nothing to do with that
But
place.
you expected to pay rent at some point, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to stay there, but I didn't stay there, and I had no plan on staying there.
You only lived there for 7 days.
I remodeled the kitchen for him while I was there.
In 7 days?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I don't have, no,
So
I have
why did
no
you move
idea.
out after? Why did you move out?
Okay,
Calm
I'm
down.
saying,
Calm down.
if you-
listen,
okay.
listen. Look at me. Breathe. You lived there. Why did you move out after 7 days?
Because my life was threatened. It was a horrible neighborhood.
Okay. He writes to you, hey, I'm going out of town Sunday for a week. I expect the lease to be signed by then. I'm uncomfortable with having someone I do not know stay in this building while neither one of you are present with a number of animals. Someone else was there with animals. Who's that person?
No, they were watching my 2 dogs.
You haven't moved out of the apartment in just 1 week, Because your 2 dogs are still there. Am I right?
Just my dogs were there.
Okay, so your dogs get to live in the apartment for free?
They were sleeping outside, and he.
That's not what you said. That's not what you said.
And he. Can I tell you something?
No,
ma'am?
you can't. What were the circumstances of? You say the dog. There was a dead dog you found in the apartment.
Allegedly, her friend beat the dog to death. So I decided this would be my opportunity to go see what was really going on in the apartment. And the entire house was a hot mess express. I wasn't concerned about the dogs. I just wanted her gone. I found out the dog was dead. She's starting to get ignorant. I said, good luck with whatever's going on and your dead dog.
Did she ever come back to the apartment again?
After she got her dog, she never came back to the apartment.
You never heard from her again?
Oh, I heard from her after that. Your Honor, things went way downhill after that. Then she just went out of control. The N-word, I'm N-word this, the only good N-word is a dead N-word. My grandpa used to own N-words.
Did you say that to him?
I did call him the N-word one time. Because he sat there calling me a cracker. Oh, here, Demi.
Hold on a second. He wrote to you, good luck finding your dogs. You wrote, like my daddy used to say, the only good is a dead.
No, I did not say that. I did not say that.
But I'm crazy.
Hell, KKK.
I would
you
never
took
say
it to that level.
No, you know what?
She went
all right,
in.
I'm done hearing all of this. Clearly, there's an agreement here that you have to pay rent. And here you are, July 4th, your dogs are still there. Lesson to you. The #1 rule that landlords should stick to. You don't give someone possession of your apartment without collecting rent. Just before the plaintiff, $2,206.
Coming up, a nasty condo complex dispute brings a nosy neighbor into court to testify.
So you're the go-to person in the condo community.
I'm the Mrs. Kravitz.
If anyone has a case, they call you as a witness.
And later, neighbors in a New York apartment building battle over a missing NutriBullet.
So I called FedEx, and they said, oh, yeah, we did deliver it. Somebody signed it, C. Nickerson. And I went, who is that? You know, because I didn't know her last name.
Have the 2 of you been juicing?
Plaintiff Norma Urena says after years of living in the defendant's condo, she was shocked when she was pushed out. She's suing for the return of a security deposit. She's accompanied in court today by her neighbor, Judy Siglin. Defendant Sylvia Smith says she owes nothing because Norma had plenty of notice and she violated the lease by changing the locks.
I get, hollered down by one of the neighbors that if I was moving. And at that point, I was so surprised. I said, I'm not moving.
Of
I'm not moving now."
2015?
Yeah, this is in 2015.
Why did she ask you that?
I go, did you see are there any signs out that I may not have seen? And he says, well, there's something in the HOA office that I saw.
Was there a for rent sign for your unit in the office?
Yes, and I had no knowledge of.
Okay, what was going on, ma'am?
That sign wasn't posted until after I had written a letter requesting a rent increase starting with the new lease if she wanted to sign on for July 1st.
And what happened in response to that letter?
I got a letter from her asking for a $400 decrease.
So what happens after that? Okay. You see that there's a sign. Is this when all the conflict starts between the 2 of you?
Oh, yeah, I was appalled. I was crying, and I took the photo, and I went and showed it to Judy. And I said, can you believe this? I can't believe that she's renting the place without me knowing about it. Like, she's doing this behind my back. I didn't tell her I was moving. And then I sent her a text and I said, am I being evicted?
Are you the neighbor?
Yes, I am.
Why don't you step over?
Yes.
So you've known her for 15 years prior to her moving in?
Yes, I met her when I first moved in, and every time the condo would vacate, she would come and tidy it up, and I observed a lot of unusual behavior.
What do you mean? Spit it out, Judy.
Well, there was one particular young man who lived out of state. She met him over the phone. He wanted to rent the condo. She rented to him by phone. And before she even met him in person, she was in love with him and going to marry him. And
so you're the go-to person in the condo community. You know everything that's going on.
I'm the Mrs. Kravitz.
If anyone has a case, they call you as a witness?
No,
because you know everything that's happening?
No, the only thing that I witnessed is what she put Norma through. I watched her try to contact Ms. Smith repeatedly without,
I'm just being nosy now. What happened with the guy? The guy that moved into the condo.
He did escape. He moved out. He moved out. He did find a lovely woman. He married her. He's very happy to
You
this
really
day.
know. Like, she really
And
knows. I didn't expect her to know everything.
Yeah. And he's got a child, too. So he's very happy, and so are his parents. Yes. They're living elsewhere.
Okay,
You want to know about the
I
numbers next to
digress.
this?
Thank you. Thank you, Judy. Thank you.
So can I just say, what I was hoping is to renew the lease with my tenant, because she's been a great tenant.
So you did end up moving out. And
Well,
you
yeah.
say that she kept your security deposit.
Yes, my
$1,650?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
Damages, changing of the locks. We couldn't get in to show the property. And then...
Who changed the locks?
She did. She locked us out.
Well, yeah, she's trying.
Judy, do you have something you want to add here?
When she was trying to come in, I mean, sure, she's the landlady.
How do you know this, Judy?
Well, because I know Norma. She comes to me. She said, I was petrified last night because someone tried to enter my home.
She could have gone to the police because you can't lock her out of her own condo.
She could
and to
ask me
stop
for
her
a key.
from-
She could ask me for
I
a
didn't
key.
know that
You could have
the
asked me
locks-
for a key.
She didn't
locks were
actually.
changed.
You know what? She doesn't have to ask you for a key. By your lease, you're required to
I
provide
didn't
her
know
with
that.
one. I think you were trying to make this difficult. You're trying to make this process difficult. You need to realize that you are the tenant. You are not the landlord. For that condo, you have certain limited rights, but she has the ultimate right and authority to the condo that she owns. She lost rent because of your actions and the actions that you took. You did properly withhold her security deposit. Judgment in this case is for the defendant.
Plaintiff Darlene Bishop says the defendant stole the NutriBullets that were mistakenly delivered to the wrong apartment. She's suing for the value of her blenders. Defendant Shantae Nickerson says she doesn't know because they live in a bad neighborhood, so anybody could have signed for the NutriBullets. She's accompanied in court today by Daly S'more.
The floor that I live on the 14th floor, is like a neighborhood, a family. We all know each other. I watched the kids grow up, so we all were like very close-knit. When Shantae came to live in the building, she's diagonal from me.
Yes, when was that?
About a year ago.
She moved onto your floor?
Right. She's diagonal from my apartment. Like I said, it was friendly, whatever, no problem. I was watching TV because of my health problems, and I saw the advertisement for the NutriBullet with the BOGO. You get one free. The
Oh,
other
buy
free.
one, get one free.
Yeah,
Got it.
BOGO. So the NutriBullet people said to me when I ordered it, it would take anywhere from 10 days to 2 weeks to get this. During that time, I'm in and out the doctor's office, and I wasn't really thinking about it, and I came home. I said, oh, wait a minute, what happened to my NutriBullet? Because now this is like 3 weeks, almost a month.
Okay.
So I called FedEx, and they said, oh, yeah, we did deliver it. And I said, you delivered it? I said, where did you deliver it to? Somebody signed it, C. Nickerson. And I went, who is that? Because I didn't know her last name.
Have the two of you been juicing?
No, not at all. I didn't even know what the NutriBullet was.
So what happened? Did you sign for the NutriBullet?
No, I did not. At the time when she had told me that the package was being delivered, I was not in my apartment. I was at work at the time, but my witness was there.
Okay.
She
You
was
were
at
home
work.
that day?
Yeah, nobody knocked on the door for no package.
It does say that the person that signed for the package, it was signed by C. Nickerson in apartment 14A.
And I was not around.
What's your apartment number?
14A, and I was at work at the time. I was not around at the time of the incident.
One
When
is
the
like, this
package
does
was
not take a
dropped
lot of
off-
investigation to see what happened here. Wow. People can't even make kale smoothies anymore without people trying to get the NutriBullets.
So when I
The
called
woman
them...
has diabetes, she's trying to get better, get healthy, and somebody stole her NutriBullet.
Yeah, well, Your Honor, I could have been framed. Anyone could have signed that.
Oh, you think FedEx is framing you?
I mean, I wasn't around at the
Because they
time.
don't want to
I
be
was at work.
responsible for the
I was
NutriBullet?
at work and my witness was in the apartment at the time.
Once you made the complaint to NutriBullet on October 7th, the very next day they reshipped the order to you and sent you 2 NutriBullets.
Right. And
so if anyone is out of NutriBullets, it's actually NutriBullet. And so they should be the proper ones pursuing a claim against
me.
Against you. Yeah, you're right.
Coming up, more Judge Faith favorites. And now, more Judge Faith favorites.
This is more of a criminal case for you versus a civil case because stealing someone's mail is a serious offense. And if you make a report and you have enough evidence, I think you have sufficient evidence here, I think there will be a criminal investigation. But civilly, that lawsuit belongs to NutriBullet. Judgment in this case is for the defendant.
Detroit neighbors battle over unpaid medical bills after a vicious dog attack.
I turn around and he's right there and he's jumping for me. And I'm thinking, please don't let him grab my throat. Please don't let him get to my face.
It's been a crazy year for me too as well. And I had got shot and I was down off work for 4 months.
You've been warned. Where's the dog now?
And later, former friends disagree over the use of credit cards that resulted in disputed charges.
There's restraining orders on this woman. She's a prior 2-time felon, prostitute, heroin user, and drug addict.
I talked to a detective over the phone, and she said there's records of her doing this type of stuff before.
I prosecuted identity theft cases in the Manhattan DA's office, and I'm going to decide the case based on the evidence and the proof submitted in court.
Plaintiff Kevin Ushery says the defendant's dog viciously attacked him and left permanent scars on his arm. He's suing for doctor's bills and pain and suffering. Defendant Mike Williams says he doesn't know because the dog was doing his job and Kevin put himself in harm's way.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Ushery versus Williams.
Thank you, Juan. Kevin Ushery,
Yes, Judge.
you were suing the defendant Mike Williams
Yes.
for $1,000 for doctor's bills and pain and suffering as a result of a dog bite.
That is correct.
And it was your dog, sir?
Yes.
That was involved in the incident? Okay.
Yes.
Well, give me some background. How do you know Mr. Williams?
Mike has been my neighbor for about 6 years, 5 or 6 years.
He's still your neighbor now?
Yes, he is. Okay. They moved in, and they seem like pretty nice people, pretty good neighbors. I had a Presser Canary, which is a Spanish Mastiff. About a year later, Mike went and got a same kind of breed dog.
But we're here because of an incident with your dog.
Yes.
Okay, what's his name?
Tank.
Tank. Okay, let me see a photo.
That's when he was 4 weeks.
That's at 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's almost 2 years.
He's a mixed breed?
Yes.
Mixed with what? That's a pit bull and what?
Bull Mastiff.
Why did you have the dog? Did you feel that you needed a dog for protection?
Exactly. Yes.
Why is that?
I mean, me and my mom, we stay together. You know, I go to work 12. At the time I was going to work 12 hours a day. She needed somebody there. She fell in love with the dog. Actually, it was a gift to my mother.
Okay.
And you know. And,
you all live in Detroit?
Yes.
So on this date in question, because this was a pretty violent incident from what I've read in your papers, give me the date. What happened?
Well, this was on August 24th. And
What happened?
this was actually the second incident. The first incident, his dog, he used to get out pretty regularly.
So the dog got out on multiple occasions. Were you aware of that?
Yes.
Okay, and you didn't do anything about it?
Yes, I tried to secure the gate as much as I could.
Try is not enough.
Coming up, the neighbors disagree about which person should pay the medical bills.
It just was traumatic. Blood just squirted everywhere.
Why haven't you paid $800 in medical bills? Why does he have to sue you for that?
And later, former friends fire accusations at each other over disputed credit card charges.
They sit in their apartment 24 hours a day, marinating on how to abuse the system.
My husband told me not to befriend her. He had a gut feeling that it just wouldn't be right.
Her husband's a Nazi.
Okay, calm down.
Plaintiff Kevin Ushery says Mike's dog left permanent scars on his arm. He's suing for doctor's bills and pain and suffering. Defendant Mike Williams says he doesn't know because the dog was doing his job and Kevin interfered.
So what happened on this day, sir?
This was the main reason why I told him that they need to get rid of the dog.
Oh, you told him that?
Numerous occasions I told him he needed to get rid of the dog.
So when you told him he should get rid of the dog several times, his response was what?
We gonna train the dog, man.
So what happened on August 24th? Things got really serious.
Yes, on August 24th, I would say a month before that, we had guys in our neighborhood For some reason, I don't know why they didn't like Mike, but they came to his house after they moved and they broke into his house. They went through the window and I guess they didn't know that Tank was inside. And I come home and I just see blood everywhere. I mean, it looks like a murder scene. I have bloody fingerprints, handprints all over his wall, the side of his door.
You went to his house and he saw this?
Yes. After that incident, I told Mike, you have to get rid of the dog. If you see what he's did, he has blood all over the place. He's going to be in bloodlust. He has a taste of human blood now, so he's going to be vicious. On the 24th, my neighbor across the street gives me a call because he didn't have Michael's number. He said, man, someone's breaking in Michael's car. It was the same guys. I threw on my robe, nothing on under it, just thinking I'm just going to go outside and see the guys running away or something. So I did that. My other neighbor comes out. The guys take off. They get in the car. They take off running. I go knock on his door. I tell his mom, hey, someone just tried to break in Mike's car. His lights are still on. His door is open. And he comes running out the house. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? And he closes the door, but he doesn't fully close the door. And next thing you know, Tank comes busting out the house, like full steam, down the walkway. And so I jump back, my robe flies open, I'm exposed. So my first thought is, please don't let him grab my privates. You know, so I pull out my gun, I take a swing at him.
Where'd you get the gun from?
Well, I'm concealed permit.
But you went outside with just a robe, but you had a gun where?
We stay in Detroit, you know. Somebody's breaking in the car, I'm going outside with my weapon.
Okay.
So I put that in my pocket, you know, and I take a swing at the dog. The dog, I hit him in the head, and he flies by me. He grabs the back of my robe, and he's shaking and grabbing my robe. So I take him and I swing him around me, and I shoot him. It hit him in the back leg, and he turned around, and he looked like, what was that? And he just immediately rushed me in the face. And I fell back over a boulder that my neighbor had in the front of his yard, and the dog is on top of me. And all I'm thinking is, please don't let him grab my throat. Please don't let him get to my face. And he had this huge collar on, so I grabbed the collar, and I rolled him off of me and pushed his head to the ground. But he looked up at me, and I looked down at him, and he just grabbed a hold and locked on my arm. And it just was traumatic. Blood just squirted everywhere.
Judge Jenkins, I think what really threw my dog to him, my neighbor told me he went and closed my door. My dog...
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Stop. Your dog has gotten out multiple times.
Yes.
Multiple times. He's asked you many times to get rid of the dog for these reasons. There is no excuse.
Okay.
There's no excuse. I understand that dogs do what dogs do, but this is a situation where you've been warned. Why haven't you paid $800 in medical bills? That's what he's asking you for. Why haven't you paid that? Why does he have to sue you for that?
Well, it's been a crazy year for me, too, as well. And I had got shot, and I was down off work for 4 months.
I'm sorry, I can't feel any sympathy for you.
I understand.
I can't. This is your dog.
All right.
Where's the dog now?
I had put him down after that.
Well, you had to. Let me see the photos of your injuries, sir.
Yeah, that's my arm there.
You're only suing for $200 for pain and suffering?
I'm not trying to break the guy. You know, I'm trying to be fair to him. But like I explained to him, they should have had homeowners insurance.
You didn't have homeowners insurance?
Yes, I believe.
Because that's
I can't
what
recall.
normally happens is, unfortunately, when
They didn't have
dogs bite, people go through their homeowner's insurance to pay for damages. You have that scar on your arm now?
Yes, I do. And
May
you
I
know,
see the scar?
Sure. You know, I show people this, and I never could understand when you would see on the news somebody got attacked and killed by dogs. And that's just it goes all the way around.
This is serious. That's a serious scar. He's only asking for $200. This is what we're going to do because you had several warnings to do the right thing, and you didn't. Because you kept saying that you were going to take care of it, you were going to train him, and you didn't. I'm ordering you to pay the plaintiff $1,000 in pain and suffering, in addition to the $800 in his medical expenses. Frankly, if I were you, I would have asked for the max. $1,800 judgment for the plaintiff.
Well, I just felt that I actually was going to become a victim of a killer dog. I felt like the guy's feeling Cujo, I guess. And I actually thought that he was going to rip my throat out, and I'm very happy to be here today.
I apologize, about my dog, injuring him. I'm full aware of everything, It's just, I apologize for everything,
We're always interested in what you have to say about our cases. Write us with your thoughts or comments. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, or my Instagram. I look forward to hearing from you.
Plaintiff Gloria Eckert says the defendant stole her identity and got credit cards in her name. She's suing for unauthorized credit card charges and pain and suffering. Defendant Lisa Lawler says she doesn't know because she never had access or made charges on Gloria's credit cards without her consent.
Gloria Eckert?
Yes, Your Honor.
You were suing the defendant Lisa Lawler?
Correct.
For $5,000. $3,500 of that is for unauthorized credit card charges and $1,500 for pain and suffering?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't you tell me about your case, ma'am? How do you know Miss Lawler and how did these instances occur?
I think it was in May.
May of this year?
Yes.
So recently?
Yes.
And the two of you have been pretty friendly up until you say she stole information and got a credit card in her name?
Well, I've been married for 11 years, and my husband told me not to befriend her. For some reason, he had a gut feeling that it just wouldn't be right.
Okay. Why don't you give me some background, Ms. Lawler, and you'll have an opportunity to defend the allegations in the lawsuit. But what has your relationship been like with Ms. Eckert prior to this case?
Well, I moved into Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus. They sit in their apartment 24 hours a day, marinating on how to abuse the system, you, the county, Section 8. There's restraining orders on this woman. She's a prior two-time felon, prostitute, heroin user, and drug addict.
Okay, calm down.
I'm angry because it's not true.
Okay,
her husband's a Nazi.
Listen, calm down. I want to hear from Ms. Eckert. I want to hear what proof she has to prove the allegations she's made in this case. And I'm going to decide the case based on the evidence and the proof submitted in court, not based on who's the loudest. I'm going to base my decision based on the evidence. So just calm down, calm down.
Coming up on Judge Faith, the story of the stolen credit card gets even more complicated.
Her address was on a credit card that was sent to me.
Who else lives with you besides your daughters?
My dog, Oliver. Maybe he signed for it. I don't know. I worked during the day.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Plaintiff Gloria Eckert says Lisa stole her identity. She's suing for unauthorized credit card charges and pain and suffering. Defendant Lisa Lawler says she doesn't know because Gloria's making false accusations.
Miss Eckert, what happened?
The way I found out that she was actually doing identity theft is because her address was on a credit card that was sent to me. It was my name with her address.
Can you show me a copy of a statement with your name and her address?
Yes.
Okay, show me that. Just give me the stack of papers. There are two letters from American Express. They're both sent to your apartment, but they're in her name. Who else lives with you besides your daughters?
I have a 13-year-old. I have a 19-year-old.
Okay.
No husband. And my dog, Oliver, maybe he signed for it. I don't know. I worked during the day.
Did you go to the police and make a report about identity theft?
Yes.
And what did the police say? Was the defendant arrested?
No. I talked to a detective over the phone, and she said there's records of her doing this type of stuff before.
Have you ever been arrested for identity theft?
I have not been arrested for identity theft ever, Your Honor.
You seem to be outraged. There's a reason why you're here, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I have at least two letters in front of me where credit card companies have sent information to your apartment number. You understand? But it's in her name.
She wanted to leave her husband, Your Honor.
Okay,
she begged me.
that doesn't make any sense
to go to
me.
Utah because her mom was dying and stay with her mom where she'd gone before. He wouldn't let her go.
What else do you have? Were there charges made on your credit card?
My Discover.
Okay.
I went with her to make purchases, but the first thing happened is she paid off my credit card for $2,981.
What do you mean she paid it off?
She told me, pull over. I was taking her to the pharmacy. Pull over, I want to help you out. I'm going to pay off your credit card.
Oh, so you went and charged $2,900 worth of stuff on your Discover card?
Yes, because I thought she had paid it off.
And you found out what later?
That she reversed paying it off, and they said I owed $29.81 again.
Were you with her when she made those purchases, or are you saying that she had your number?
I was with her some of the time.
I see that there are 2 returned phone payments, one for $29.80 and one for $5.75. Did you pay off this money on this Discover card and then have that payoff reversed?
Yes, I reversed it because she lied to me.
And then there were charges made.
But let me ask you about that. That's not fraud. For you to say you're going to pay off a friend's credit card and then you change your mind, that's not fraud.
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
You know, I prosecuted identity theft cases in the Manhattan DA's office, and they're not easy cases to prove, especially in this case because there are 2 elements to this. One, you're saying that she applied for these credit cards and had them sent to her address in your name. Her defense is that you were the one that applied for these credit cards and had them sent to her apartment because you didn't want your husband to know you were trying to get credit. Just put that aside for a second. You're suing for $3,500 in unauthorized credit card charges. And you want me to look at statements that you've provided. Now, some of these charges are in dispute. Others, you say that the company, for example, Discover, denied your claim because you were with the defendant when some of these purchases were made. The problem you have is a proof problem. Whenever I had these cases in the DA's office and we had someone who, when my identity was stolen last year, somebody went into Target and purchased $400 worth of stuff using a credit card. You know what the detective had to do? They had to go to Target, pull up the video, look at the timestamp of when the purchase was made, and see who the person was who made the purchase at that time. I see that someone tried to get a card sent to their address because according to you, in these letters, she was unsuccessful in getting the cards. But then again, you want to come in and say she was also able to make these unauthorized charges, and it's just a proof problem. You have to be able to connect the dots. You don't have the evidence yet to do that. That's why she hasn't been arrested. That's why there's not a criminal case. You don't have enough yet for a criminal case. You can try to go and work with the detective to connect more of these dots, but for me, I'm not satisfied that you've come into court today and proven to me that the defendant is the one, because there are other people who live in that household. She claims that you perhaps had credit cards sent to her, and people will just steal mail. There are a number of scenarios that happen in these situations that I've seen. People are very creative these days. Identity theft is an epidemic. It is an epidemic. People are very creative. They're very crafty. And I am not satisfied in this case that you presented enough proof that it's that person right over there who made unauthorized charges on your card and that the credit card company is holding you responsible for all of these charges because I see several of them are in dispute. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to dismiss your case without prejudice. That means you can refile. You can refile when you get your evidence together, but you need more evidence because several things I've asked you for today, you're unable to come into court and really present a cohesive case to me as to why she's responsible. You can refile, but you have to get your paperwork together. I'm gonna tell you something, Ms. Lawler. I'm not convinced you're innocent of this. I just want you to know that. I'm saying she hasn't proven her case, but I'm not convinced you're innocent here. You understand?
Well, I am.
Well, that will be for another court to decide, and that will be for the detectives in your jurisdiction to decide when you get your evidence together. Good luck.
I don't have enough information, apparently, so I guess I have to find some more information and try again.
I'm happy, and I think they did a great job, and the truth came out.
Cincinnati co-workers find out the hard way they made better friends than roommates.
This is when the fight started.
Okay.
I said, well, just give me the key, and then I'll let you get the rest of your stuff. She pushed me, I pushed her back.
You put your hands on me. I pushed you back because you pushed me. Whatever you fell on was your problem.
How long did this fight last? How did it end?
And later, a car dealer and a single mom discover they had different interpretations of the small print on an as-is used car sale.
She was supposed to bring me the money in 3 weeks, and she never brought me the money. I kept calling her, where's the money for the down payment?
Literally, like, the lights all came on and started blinking. Like, every hazard light that you could possibly think of, alert light, came on, and then everything just shut down.
What happened? The car gets abandoned on the road? How did that happen?
Plaintiff Shonda LeGee says the defendant gave her the runaround on the rent and pushed her when she demanded the keys back. She's suing for unpaid rent and related expenses. Defendant Ebony King says she doesn't owe because Shonda pushed her first and knew she didn't have the money to pay the overdue rent.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Legee versus King.
Thank you, Juan. Shonda LeGee?
Yes, ma'am.
You are suing the defendant Ebony King
Yes, ma'am.
for $2,400, 4
yes.
months of unpaid rent, and for a damaged computer and damaged television?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, are the two of you related?
No, ma'am. We were co-workers, ex-co-workers.
Ex-co-workers?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
tell me about this case, ma'am. What happened?
Well, I met her about 4 or 5 years ago. We used to work at Paul Brown Stadium, and she was on my crew, and she was like one of my best workers, and we just started hanging out after work, you know, bar hopping, a little partying or whatever. We became real good friends. She was a little younger than me, but we became real good friends, and she told me she was having problems with her cousin because she was living there paying like $450 a month rent.
Okay.
One night I'm like, well, why don't you just come live with me since you don't have any kids? You can come stay with me.
Were you living by yourself at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
And what were you living in? An apartment?
No, it's
home?
a house. It's a house, yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
you
I've had
living
this.
in a house.
It's my grandma's house, but I own it now. I've been living there for past 4 years.
Okay.
So she moved in back in 2014. I let her move in with me, and then.
And this is your grandmother's house, so you don't pay rent at all?
Yeah, I own it. I mean, I rent it now. Yeah, it's. Yeah.
And let me hear from you, Ms. King. So this was back in 2014, so you were temping at the time.
Yes, ma'am.
Give me some background on you.
Well, I was staying with my mother. I wasn't staying with my cousin. And I'm grown. I'd rather live on my own, so we became roommates.
Okay.
I lost my job, and I couldn't pay it for 2 months. 4 months, I don't know about that. It was 2 months. I moved out. We got into a fight because I was leaving. I don't know if she wanted me to stay.
You got into a fight?
Me and her got into a fight.
Because
I don't know if she wanted me to stay there and let my money go up and keep on her rent money, and I can't pay it.
Okay.
So I went back home to my mother.
So did the two of you enter into a written lease?
No.
It was all verbal?
Basically, yes, ma'am.
What is all that in your hands? Your calendars?
Well, I'm kind of like old school. Everything I do, I kind of write it down instead of putting it in my phone. And
Okay.
I just.
So you have 2 years worth of calendars.
I have actually 8 years worth of calendars, but I'm sorry, I like to write stuff down so I don't forget. I
understand, but this case is only, over 4 months of rent.
Oh, exactly.
Okay.
I have documentation when she stopped paying me.
Okay, all right.
And when she started paying me.
So, Ms. King.
Yes.
When you left, you say the two of you got into a fight. But prior to that, what was it like living with her? Because she's 20 years older than you.
Yes.
So you say you're moving out of your mother's house and now into a roommate situation. What was it like living with her?
It was cool. We was friends. Everything was good.
So everything was fine up until you stopped paying the rent and then you had a fight.
I think everything was fine up until I was ready to move out. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to stay in your house and just keep on you $350 a month.
But all your stuff was there. Your stuff stayed there for 6 months after that.
It wasn't no 6 months.
Is that true?
No.
Did you take your things with you when you left?
Most of my stuff. I probably left a bed, a TV.
You left a bed, TV. You left a dresser because you didn't have a moving truck.
Ma'am, you gonna put the calendars down for me and just talk to me about the case? You're suing for 4 months of rent. I promise you, I do not need those calendars.
Okay,
I promise you. They will be there when the case is over.
Coming up, the value of the broken computer is called into question.
How old is this laptop?
Like 06 or something. But I had it upgraded and everything cleaned out. It was fine for me.
That's worth about $75 max.
And later, a car dealer demands payment for a used Honda Accord that was abandoned after it broke down on a busy California highway.
She said, go pick up your car from the street. It has a bad engine.
Prior to that, had said he was going to have a mechanic look at it. That never happened.
But, you've had the car for 3 or 4 months. You've been driving it. Who knows what issues could come up?
Plaintiff Shonda LeGee says Ebony caused the altercation that damaged her belongings. She's suing for unpaid rent and related expenses. Defendant Ebony King says she doesn't know because Shonda started the fight.
You're suing over damage to your computer
and my TV
and your TV.
Yes, ma'am, because the problem was when she started staying out like weeks at a time, I'm like, well, are you moving out or what? Because if you moving out, you still need to pay me the remainder of the 3 months rent that you didn't pay. And then we get into it, because I wanted my key. She even had access to her own door, so she had her whole basement, which she was renting. The issue was she came in trying to get some more clothes. I said, well, can I get the money from last month? No. When I get paid, get a job, I'll pay you, blah, blah, blah. Was no taking all that.
I had no money.
Then I asked her for the key. This is when the fight started.
Okay.
I said, well, just give me the key, and then I'll let you get the rest of your stuff. I'm going into the basement where her stuff is because I'm trying to lock the upstairs door so she can't go get any more of her stuff till I get my money.
Okay, but she doesn't have any money. So you're telling her she can't get her stuff?
Okay, yes, ma'am, but I asked her, give me my key. She pushed me, then I pushed her back. She didn't bump me, she actually she pushed me. She forcibly pushed me out the way to get downstairs.
And what do you say happened?
She pushed me first. I didn't put my hands on her.
Okay, and then what happened after that?
We started fighting, and her stuff got broke. Whatever got broke, you shouldn't do. You don't put your hands on nobody. She broke my phone when she pushed me. This is a $500 phone.
And so after that, how long did this fight last? How did it end?
Well, my cousin was there to help me move my stuff, and she broke it up. I just left the stuff there, and came back and got it a couple weeks later.
Were the police called?
No, ma'am.
No, because we were
no one was
friends.
injured?
No.
No, just the computer because when she pushed me, I fell back on it. That's why I fell directly back on it, onto the table and everything.
You put your hands on me. I pushed you back because you pushed me. Whatever you fell on was your problem.
So I threw the vase at you too that hit the TV.
You threw a vase?
The TV.
Somebody threw a vase?
She threw the vase at the corner of the TV.
But she was throwing it at you, but you ducked.
She ducked.
If
she wouldn't have ducked, it wouldn't have hit the TV.
And then I'm like, oh, she throwing stuff, and now it ain't that serious. She was that mad. I'm like, it's not that serious. You give me my money.
It is that serious when you put your hands on me.
Well, it is that serious. But you two are fighting at this point, right?
Yeah, after she pushed me and threw me on the table.
So the two of you don't work together anymore?
No.
No, I'm still.
Well, you can't get her a job at the stadium? I mean, football season's about to start.
But she worked temp service, so they have to get to work when they want to work.
Okay.
But I'm seasonal, so I work year round, like preseason, and she was one of my crew. That's all it was.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying the season's about to start. Maybe you can.
Exactly.
Well, I know y'all had a fight now. I don't know if you should be working together.
I mean, we've been friends a long time, but I just wanted. After the TV was broken, and I'm like,
What about my phone that's broken?
Let me see that. How old is this laptop?
Like 06 or something. It's old, but it worked.
I understand that, man, but you want a brand new laptop?
I just wanted a replacement. I kept it just.
Listen.
I mean, I keep a lot of old. I'm
After
sorry.
2 years,
once it
that's
dies,
a
then I'll get a new
you
one. But it was
understand that,
working
right?
it was working.
That's worth about $75 max.
Okay, I'm just saying it worked fine.
But
I had it upgraded and everything cleaned out. It was fine for me. Like it's a dinosaur, but it still worked.
My phone wasn't no dinosaur.
What kind of phone do you have? I'm just curious.
A Galaxy.
Oh,
it's
a
not
Galaxy.
A flip.
Okay, all right.
A Galaxy.
Okay.
It's a droid. I'm hip to the droids.
Okay. Here's what we're going to do. Based on the defendant's admission that she failed to pay rent because she lost her job, she is responsible for the rent. You contest that it's 4 months. You say it's only 2?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you move out?
In August.
And when do you say she stopped paying rent? This is when you get to use your calendar now.
Okay.
In June.
When do you say she stopped paying rent?
She stopped paying rent like right before August.
Okay. So did you pay June's rent or not, ma'am?
No, ma'am.
Nope.
You did not pay June's rent?
Nope.
That's when I lost
so
my
that's
job.
June, July, and August.
July.
That's 3 months.
Okay.
I'm going to credit the plaintiff's testimony that you were behind on the 4 months of rent because you don't know. You told me 2 months, and then by your own admission, you didn't pay for 3 months. I'm not going to order her to pay for any of the items that were damaged because I find that the fight appeared to be mutual combat. You said she pushed you first. She said you pushed her first.
Okay.
I don't have an independent witness, which would have possibly been your cousin, to come in and say who pushed who. So you pay for your own expenses in terms of the fight. But I do find that she owes for the 4 months of rent. I'm curious, though. Why did you bring all the calendars to court?
Because
we're just talking about 4 months of this year.
Right, because everything was, basically verbal, and I just wanted you to see that I do keep, notations of stuff and.
In general.
Yes, ma'am.
That you keep a lot of notes in general.
Yes, ma'am. Receipts too.
Okay.
Keep receipts and everything.
Duly
I just
noted.
don't put stuff on my phone because.
Duly noted. $1,200 verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Always write stuff down and keep old computers because they might come in handy.
I feel the judge's ruling was unfair because my phone was broke and due to the fight that she started.
Plaintiff Sam Saradine says he sold the defendant a used Honda Accord, but she stopped paying and then abandoned it on the side of the road. He's suing for the balance owed on a car. Defendant Veronica Pilkington says she doesn't owe because the used car was a clunker and she told Sam she didn't want it anymore.
Sam Saradine,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are suing Veronica Pilkington for $3,670, the balance you say she owes on a car she purchased from you.
Correct.
You are the owner of a car dealership?
Yes, Your
How
Honor.
many dealerships do you own?
One.
One? Okay, and where is it located?
In Bakersfield, California.
All right. And so you sold a car to the defendant. Tell me about the car and what happened.
Well, the defendant came into the dealership. She picked a vehicle. We made an agreement on the price.
What kind of vehicle, sir?
2004 Honda Accord. And she signed a contract. She left $3,000 a check as a hold a check.
What was the sale price of the car?
$79.99 plus tax and license.
And she paid a $3,000 deposit on the car?
She did pay $3,000 after two and a half months.
So you're financing about $5,000?
Financing amount was $63.83.
Okay, Miss Pilkington.
Yes, Your Honor.
What happened? Because I understand that you did not continue making payments on the car.
Correct.
And you turned it back over to the plaintiff. What happened?
I was driving the car for about 3-4 months, and it started making a winding sound.
But you bought a used car, right?
Yes.
But, I mean, you've had the car for 3 or 4 months. You've been driving it. So who knows what issues could come up? Was there a warranty with the plaintiff? There's no warranty? No. Was she making her payments on time?
No. The down payment was late 2.5 months. And she was supposed to bring me the money in 3 weeks. And she never brought me the money. I kept calling her. Where's the money for the down payments, Veronica?
Okay, but she paid the down payment. The rest of the payments, what's going on?
And the rest of the payments was late. One day she decided she doesn't want to make the payments anymore. And I said, where's the car? And the car disappeared. I hired a repo company to find the car. The car nowhere to be found.
Okay.
And after several phone calls, I got hold of her, and she said, go pick up your car from the street. It has a bad engine.
On the street, as in front?
Abandoned.
Abandoned.
The car.
On the street.
Exactly
okay.
where it broke down.
So what happened?
With a broken window.
It broke down.
It had broke down. He, prior to that, had said he was going to have a mechanic look at it. That never happened.
But, ma'am, you don't have a warranty for the car. Like, this is your car.
Right.
You can't keep going back to the dealership when there are issues. You bought a used car. You bought it as is. There's no warranty. It's your responsibility.
Coming up on Judge Faith, concerns are raised about the used car sale.
The car was in mint condition, perfect condition, was inspected.
Well, it wasn't perfect, right?
I mean,
thank you.
When you buy a car that's 12 years old, 185,000 miles, you never know. When you started, it might be the last time.
Plaintiff Sam Saradine says Veronica abandoned the used car he sold her on the side of the road. He's suing for the balance owed on a car. Defendant Veronica Pilkington says she doesn't owe because she told Sam she didn't want the car anymore.
What happened? The car gets abandoned on the road? How did that happen?
I was driving home from my cousin's house with my girls. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and it literally, like, the lights all came on and started blinking. Like, every hazard light that you could possibly think of, alert light, came on, and then everything just shut down, and it stopped driving completely.
You've bought a car that's 12 years old with 185,000 miles, and it's incumbent upon you to try to get it checked out before you purchase it to see if there are any major issues. And there was no warranty whatsoever? Sir?
There was a 3-month warranty.
A 3-month warranty, but after the
Yes, Your
3-month
Honor.
warranty...
Yes. And the car was in mint condition, perfect condition, was inspected.
Well, it wasn't perfect, right?
I mean,
it was
Thank you.
leather, moonroof, everything fully
Mm-hmm.
loaded, very nice car.
But 3-month warranty, so it's not as if you were sold a lemon. When you buy a car that's 12 years old, 185,000 miles, you never know. When you
Right.
started, it might be the last time.
I learned my lesson.
Okay, so where's the car now?
The car was brought back to the dealership. We fixed the car, and then I resold the vehicle.
You resold it. How much did you resell it for?
$5,600.
Do you have proof of that?
No.
Here's how this works. Either she keeps the car and you sue for what she owes on the car because she's breached the contract, she's not making payments, or you repossess the car and you resell it to try to mitigate some of the damages.
Correct.
But what you don't get is both. You can't resell the car and make a profit on the car and then sue her for the remaining balance that she owes on the car.
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
That's what happens with the banks. When they go and they repossess a car and the car is resold, what they do is they take the profits from the sale, pay for the car, they take all their fees out of it, what it costs for them to have someone go out and take possession of the car, and if there's any money left over, guess where it goes? To the customer.
Correct.
So what are your actual damages here? Let's just do the simple math.
Okay, the actual damage
No,
is...
sir, no, I'm going to do the math.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm going to do the math. This actually works out fine because the car was purchased $8,000. She made $4,464.93 worth of payments. I am actually going to order her to pay the $300 that it costs for you to use the repo company, $1,500 in repairs. However, you sold the car for $5,600. I find that she only owes $5,336. You sold the car for $5,600. You are not out of any additional money in terms of damages. And you made a profit when you sold the car. So based on all of that, sir, I find that you breached the contract. Clearly breached the contract, but you have no damages as you stand here today out of pocket because of that breach, because you were able to sell the car and sell it for a profit, and you don't get to sue her for all of the money she didn't pay for the car when you sold it and you made a profit. So my judgment in this case is for the defendant.
You can't just go around ripping people off. At the same time, I understand my breach of contract. However, I don't think it's fair to just rip people off and do people wrong because you know that they are not aware of how to go about certain things in the right way and researching the car and the engine and the price and all that stuff.
You cannot go sign a contract, buy a vehicle, and just don't pay for it, or damage other people's property and never pay for it.